This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 583 for the week of Sunday, August 18th, 2019. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
And on today's show, we have very special guest translator for One Piece in Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us again. How's it going, Stephen?
It's going pretty good.
And we also have on here, he is translator for My Hero Academia, Dr. Stone, Dragon Ball Super, World Trigger, Hell's Paradise, and I assume more. We have Caleb Cook joining us again. How's it going, Caleb?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, it's great to have you. How's everything been since the last time?
Pretty good. It's winter in New Zealand now, so I am freezing my ass off while you guys are probably sweating wherever you are. But yeah, no, I got my cup of tea ready to do the podcast.
Oh, this is just so weird on so many levels. That's cool though. Talking to us from a different season. And we also have from Anime News Network, he is our anime recap host. He's also a writer over at ANN. Well, JoJo's is done, but Black Clover's still going on, and One Piece will forever be going on. And he writes for both of those. We have Sam Leach. He's back. How's it going, Sam?
Hell? Oh.
Yes, that's a new one. So I'm back. I'm not even letting Sam continue there. So I'm back.
What
and
else
I'm
is
ready
there to say?
I don't know. I'm ready to talk about One Piece, and apparently the rest of the world is, because everyone's into One Piece now. It's suddenly the popular thing, which I am happy about. I'm not one of those hipsters who's like, now that everyone else likes it, whatever. So before we get started, there's been some news, and that is that not only is One Piece getting more popular here in the United States, it is also still extremely popular over in Japan. Ed, do you have numbers for One Piece Stampede?
Sure, it had a opening weekend gross of $7.6 million and beat out the Lion King, the alleged live-action Lion King that also opened in Japan this week. So
yes, the first quote-unquote original Disney property. Sorry, I recently met someone who just found out about Kimba the White Lion existing. So that's pretty cool. I heard it was doing better than Gold.
Not overall, but it was in fewer theaters. So it's at the more, I guess, more people have, I guess. Yeah, that's what going.
Yeah, I know. Also, some news on releases here in the United States. Nothing new on season 10 yet. Hopefully, we'll hear something eventually. But East Blue is coming out September 24th, and the episode of Skypiea was just announced for November 26th.
You know what that means, though, right?
Oh, J. Michael Tatum.
You gotta get him
We'd
back
assume.
on.
Does that mean Zach, you and I, and Anime NYC have to meet Tatum all over again?
Oh yeah, I forgot he's going to be at
later.
Anime NYC. Yeah, it'll be a 10 years later Tatum cast, or what do we call it? Godcast.
Godcast, yeah.
That's right.
The Godcast 10 or something. We
a
should.
Toddcast.
I think you just announced something I didn't even think of until you just mentioned it.
No. Let's not get carried away.
No, that's true. But I think we should definitely try and do that. Why not? As long as Tatum, is willing to talk to us. I mean, I don't know. Or talk in general. I'd look forward to doing that. Hopefully. Please pick up episode of Skypiea. I guess it's probably available for pre-order on Right Stuff, and I'm assuming also on Amazon soon, if not now.
Yeah. It's November 26th.
Yeah, November 26th. Very cool. This week on the One Piece podcast, we're going to go through One Piece, chapter 952, Hiyori and Kawamatsu. You could, of course, read that in Shonen Jump and Manga Plus for free as soon as it comes out in Japan. Sam, we also have some anime that's also available on Crunchyroll and Funimation and all that. What episode are we doing this week?
It is episode 898. The headliner, Hawkins the Magician, appears. Although technically he appeared last week.
That's not
well,
good.
He's going to appear again.
He appears a lot. Well, not that much. So you have Brian on for that and Ed?
Just Ed.
Just Ed.
Just
okay,
me and Ed.
So maybe next time with Brian. So Ed, as you know, as a co-host of our podcast. So we could look forward to that. We also are going to go through the Zoro one-shot by the Dr. Stone artist, whose name I'll probably pronounce incorrectly. Boichi? Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So we're going to do that a little bit with Caleb, since he is the Dr. Stone translator, even though I guess this chapter didn't really involve much translation. Since it was basically the original Mihawk and Zoro chapter from volume 8, I'm gonna guess. I don't know that off the top of my head, so we'll talk about that. We of course have some piece together, probably trivia. So you guys ready to get started?
Sure.
You.
That's why we're here.
This is the manga recap for chapter 952, Hiyori and Kawamatsu. You can read this chapter for free and legally on shonenjump.viz.com or mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. That second one is available worldwide, again, for free, legally. Please read it legally. Ed, what's going on in the front page?
It only takes 1 week to adjust.
Yeah,
Read it legally. Don't get all bent out of shape when things don't leak as early as you would like.
Yeah, and you're really it's like 48 hours, I think. You know, it's fine. Just read the legal release. It's better, and we have Steven here who's going to help us through it. But not Steve. Ed, that's your name. What's going on the front page?
It's limited cover series number 24, Gang Badges, Oh My Family, Volume 3, What My Wife Wants, I Want.
I don't.
Alexi wanted to change this to Happy Wife, Happy Life.
I like that more.
This is my wife. Yes.
Wait, we're 3 volumes into this now, and we're still just like looking at them on their little chart.
Well, no. Last week we learned that she wants to go see Lola, and this week Capone's like, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Vito's gonna throw the kid overboard. Jesus, Vito.
Boy, Alex is here to just quickly do a Joe Montana. What my wife? My wife.
Hey,
What
Vito's got a
wants,
great grip.
I want. She wants the money.
Vito has big hands.
I was mentioning on Twitter, I think with Jill, how this looks like a Simba over Pride Rock here. And with Vito's gigantic hands, it creates a safe and secure. Yeah, what?
Vito is Rafiki.
I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility there.
So when Pez was born, was was big hands here, just living in a tree, making a painting of Pez.
I also like the theme that it's like, this week it's Gang Badges, Oh My Family. Next week it's Gang Badges, One Life to Live. Gang Badges, General Hospital. Gang Badges, Guiding Light.
These are all great, but I'm also taking the Lion King thing way too far. And instead of all the animals on the bottom, it's all just a bunch of gangsters, and they're all shooting their guns in the air, like super happy. Yeah, I'd watch that. Anything else going on here that you want to mention?
No, that's it for me.
He's a fantastic husband. We mentioned how this is the most normal family, normal, quote unquote, like they are a healthy family. And it's like the only one in One Piece of a biological one, at least.
Aladdin and Praline are pretty happy.
And then have a kid.
Are they married? They're married.
And Miss Monday.
That's right.
Mr. Prince?
No, Mr. 7, right?
Oh, I thought you said
Mr. 9.
Mr. 9.
Mr. 9. That's it.
We talked about this.
Get that wrong every time.
Yeah, they're okay. To be
Mr.
fair,
Prince is somebody else.
Yeah. So I hear.
My father is Mr. Prince.
Okay, what's going on the first page of the chapter?
So the next day at the Bandits Bridge in Ringo, and Zoro is back to fighting Yukimaru. He says, "What's your deal anyway? Are you friend or foe? Who are you? And when do you keep stealing weapons of people passing through? What are you trying to do with them?" As Zoro has subdued him, and he is sitting on his chest in a very disrespectful manner. He
I
says,
like
"Give
the
me back."
little tiny feet sticking up. Their sandals.
He does have small legs for a big guy.
Maybe it's related to Kaido. Tiny legs Kaido. Baby legs. Sorry, it was baby legs Kaido.
Regular legs.
I'm regular legs Kaido.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Zoro says, "Give me back my sword already." He says, "Don't waste your life for the sake of one measly weapon." And Yukimaru he's tired, he's wheezing, and he sort of gets a burst of energy and throws Zoro off, and he says, "You will not have it back. Not that one." Katana, you had Shusui, the stolen national treasure of Wano, and I'm feeling like, man, I feel like I've heard you say this speech before. Its removal from our land was the start of all of our misfortune. That incurred the wrath of the god of the blade. Well, that's new. Since then, each region suffered loss after loss until the country itself fell under enemy control, as the fight sort of continues in the background as he's speechifying. But God of the Blade, that's interesting. At this point, Hiyori shouts out, "What? Shusui?" And Zoro, angry atheist, "What god?" And then...
I forgot about
Big fan
that.
of Zoro, big fan of God.
That's right.
Just loves it.
And so I guess that's Hiyori yelling out, "Cease this fight!" And
No, I
the
think
next-
that's. I
It
think
was
if we go to the
newcomer.
next page, yeah,
yes, right.
it is Kawamatsu. Which, by the way, do they have like a Shinkansen or a bullet train or something in Wano? How do they get from one country to the other so freaking quick? Or territory? I don't know what you want to call it.
No, it's already the
been a
next
day.
day. It's been a day.
Oh! You're right.
Don't complain, Zach. It's not like it's Game of Thrones.
Anyway, so yeah, Kawamatsu Zoro blocks what turns out to be Kawamatsu's sword here, and Kawamatsu hops back in. I don't even in an acrobatic.
He does some
fashion.
backflips.
Yeah, I don't know how you want me to describe this here. And Kawamatsu begins. Ka-pa-pa-pa-pa. What do I find here? A samurai and monk doing battle in this remote place, and yet neither of you trying to kill the other. A farcical sight indeed. And Hiyori realizing, wait a second, that's Kawamatsu. Is that really you? And Kawamatsu realizing,
Why nice voice. It makes it sound like she spotted him from like across the bar. Kawamatsu, is that you? Get over here, you bitch. Sorry, Zach. Or you could always do the bro one. Is that Kawamatsu? Kawamatsu, you chode, get over here. I'm
not
done,
heard
please.
that. I have not heard that word in a really long time. Anyway, Kawamatsu saying, "Why do you know my name?" Not realizing who it is. It's been quite a while, and I believe Hiyori was a kid at the time. And Zoro noting, Fishman? So kind of, I think this was Alex's reaction to upon seeing Kawamatsu. And what's his name again? I will never remember his name. Yukimaru. And he was named after, he was based after, what was the name of the, it starts with a B, right?
The monk was Benkei.
Benkei, yeah. Which I think is a better name, but whatever. And he stares on, and he looks, I'm going to say surprised, but it's really impossible to know with him. So we head to the swirling seas outside of Onigashima, and realize that the fight between Kaido and Big Mom continue, though we're not exactly sure in what fashion, as we just have them rawing at each other. But boy, are they rawing. And I'm assuming the floor below or somewhere else, it's I guess it's kind of hard
They're backstage.
Yeah, backstage. We see Queen and his cronies. Sorry. Realizing when
Queen and his cronies.
Queen and his cronies.
Queen and his cronies.
Queen and his cronies.
It's a nice name. Don't pick it for an episode title.
They're in like an atomic shelter.
Yeah, that's exactly what this looks like.
That's kind of what it is.
We're wondering when the fight is gonna finish. It's gone on all through the night. Yeah, this is the next day, isn't it? And this is why I didn't realize it was the next day, because everything was kind of status quo other than the original thing. And saying, it's going all through the night. The island can't take it. And Queen saying, look, maybe after someone suggests we should evacuate to the mainland, saying, what kind of idiot runs away when the boss is fighting? You clowns. And saying, anyway, has there been any word from Udon yet? And the Smail, or Smart Snail, as it's also known as, still has not been able to connect. So Queen decides, then I'll go check on them. And realizing that the cronies realizing that is Queen's excuse to run away, said, no. I said check on them. That's very different. Don't worry, guys. Caleb.
Oh, check on them.
Right, page 6, we get the Smail going, poo-doo-doo-doo-doo, gotcha. Yo, Queen speaking. And the cronies say, woo, Queen. And it's Warden Babanuki from Udon on the phone. Sounds like you got the Smails working again. Yes, sir. I know I took a lot of the men with me. Need some help? We can head back if you want. And the cronies realize what he's up to, and they say he's looking for a heroic reason to leave Onigashima. No need for now, sir, says Babanuki. They turned him down. We put Straw Hat Luffy and Captain Kidd and all the other eyesores into the cells to get them to behave, says Babanuki. This turns out to be a lie. Queen says, I see. And Babanuki says, so long for now. As reported, there are no problems at all. And Queen says, let there be problems. Please let there be problems. And the cronies, again, outcry, Master Queen. Back at the excavation labor camp in Udon, Babanuki hangs up, the call's finished. Was that to your liking, Master? And Otama says, yep, thanks, good boy. And they do a nice little high five with her teeny weeny hands against his and Raizo says, what incredible sorcery, bending enemies to your will with millet dumplings. As we know, it works on animals and animal sorcery users, Otama's millet dumpling power. And then we get Karibu again. Kihihi, looky here, everything's all hunky-dory. Now they think thousands of us prisoners are all locked up, safe and sound. Wait till they get a load of us when we show up on the day of the big battle. And for the first time ever in the series, and probably the last, somebody says, and it's all thanks to you, Caribou.
Caribou,
It's all thanks to you, Lester.
That's right. You owe me one.
You owe me one, exactly.
Look at that snail, though.
Very smug.
I like the on the first page of this spread too, that you can see in not consecutive panels, but in adjacent panels, that the snail is normal when he gets the call, and then when Babanuki comes in, it just transforms into his beard and eyes and stuff. Yeah,
it's so crazy. But I guess it's like almost a good way to prove identity. It's like caller ID.
yeah.
It literally transforms.
Yeah, it's cool. I can't remember that he's ever explicitly shown that, like, the normal snail and then the identification.
No, I don't think normal transponder snails do that. Like Luffy has on the Thousand Sunny, there is a Luffy transponder snail, but it's used, I think, for all of them. It's just they have a themed snail. It's the Luffy snail for the Straw Hats. That makes sense.
It's usually like simple facial expressions that it's replicating most of the time. Although in the anime a few weeks ago with the filler, I remember noting that the bad guy of that filler was like this bounty hunter guy who had like a scar on his forehead, and somehow the scar appeared on the transponder snail he was talking through.
Didn't Blackbeard's snail do that too in Dressrosa?
But that was I assume that was a Blackbeard like specific snail. Like that snail had the beard all the time or something.
Yeah, it's like a brand, or like one of those covers you get for your phone. It's like that.
Yeah, there's Delflamingo snails with his glasses.
Maybe this is what makes them smart snails.
Yeah. Well, the smart snails could transform. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd watch a series about that. Stephen, go ahead.
Anyways, on the next page, the samurai who are all, I guess these must be like the mummy, the cured mummy men who are all wrapped up in bandages like mummies now, are all claiming that they are in Chopper's debt now, and they will give their lives to repay what they owe him. And Chopper is like, no, please don't. I don't I don't want any samurai debts. It wasn't that hard to stop, which I think we talked about last time too, where it's like, oh yeah, you just take out some glass beakers and mix some liquid around, and then sure enough, there you go, cured. But Chopper is more happy for Luffy because he is healthy again. He's in his element, as we see Luffy is leading the cheer of all the prisoners. They're all, yeah, Luffy Taro. And he was. They didn't trust him before, but all it took was a little show of Lord Momonosuke, and look at how they trust him now, says Hyo. And in the meantime, coming in from off panel is a figure who says, "Boss Yogoro, to think that I would live to one day speak to you again." And the prisoners are amazed and apparently thrilled by the pumping fists there, that it's the Yakuza bosses of every region. They had been mentioned before and shown in silhouette. And I think we definitely saw the guy with the hat here. But yes, we see the Yakuza bosses of the different regions of Wano. From Udon, there is Blood Riding Omasa. From Hakumai, Split Hat Tsunagoro. From Ringo, Ocho, the Bottle Gourd. And from Kibi, Snake Eyes Yatape.
So you guys have to memorize these.
Yeah, you have to memorize
realistic.
all of them.
These characters don't need names.
Probably not, but they have fun designs. Ocho, I should point out too, Cho is for Chocho, that's butterfly, hence her hairstyle.
Yeah.
It's a good week for butterflies.
So they are all thrilled to see Hyo, and he is happy to see them. He's got his little his cape with the leopard kanji on the back for Hyogoro. And they're like, "What? You're worried for us? No way. That's right. You got it all backwards. We were worried for you. It's backwards. It's backwards is needing to take a crap as soon as you leave the bath." It's a very creative and vivid image. And
it's
you
true.
remember
You don't
that.
want to, yeah. I mean, there's a reason they have bidets in Japan. It's because some people don't realize that, and they, Go ahead.
But yes, they're basically claiming their allegiance here, that they're going to get right to work rounding up all of the traitors still in hiding. Now, that kind of sounds like they're saying we're going to round up and execute the people who are unloyal, but what they really mean is they're going to round up the traitors to the current regime, meaning all of these pirates and samurai and so on. They are going to go find them and bring them into the fold. As they're doing some pretty dynamic poses here, which are
I really love this page. This is a fun page.
Mhm.
Although,
super cool.
is that so? Are they each supposed to kind of be like animals of some sort? Because you got the butterfly, the snake. Omasa looks like a cat, like a lucky cat with the bells and everything. I guess. I don't know what the
that's not
hell
true.
Hakuma, the guy from Hakumai, is supposed to be. This Tsunagoro.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily think of them as all being explicitly animal themed, but I guess Hyo is the leopard, so that could be something there. Maybe tuna is for tuna. Tunagora.
Well, Stephen, was there anything interesting about the kanji in their names besides Cho?
Well, the thing is, like a lot of them, like a lot of the characters in Wano, like there's a lot more katakana than you would expect.
Okay.
I can check real quick here as to what the names are, since I do have them in my spreadsheet, if that will open.
Wait, you've never shared this spreadsheet with me? It's a
Nope.
spreadsheet about One Piece.
Yeah.
I live for it.
No, Tsunagoro is like a net, like a tuna, like a fishing net.
Sure.
Masa, the O is big for Omasa, since that makes sense. He's the big guy. But Masa is in katakana. The Goro is in katakana. Ocho is the butterfly, as I mentioned, and Yatape is it's more like a name kanji. Yata is two different kanji, and the pe is just kind of a little hanger at the end.
Interesting.
They're probably, if I had to guess, they're probably like references to either Rakugo routines or some Jidaigeki samurai movie or another. since we know he loves to draw on those for his inspiration.
And
Yeah.
Ocho has that symbol on her outfit. It's the same thing Eneru had. What's it called again? I completely don't remember. That's on the drums.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it's called either.
Tomie, I think.
Okay.
I think it's called a Sharingan.
Thank you, Sam. Steve.
All right. So Luffy just says like, ha 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 ha. These guys are intense. And look at Gramps. Looks like he's the boss of them all. And they just turn and glare at the sound of Luffy referring to Hio as Gramps. And the cat-like guy says like, you're gonna pay the price for your saucy tongue. As he puts Luffy in a head and arm lock, and this guy Sunagoro is like, it's like, how many you want, boss? Fingernails, pinkies, earlobes, just say the word. As Ocho is probably going for the toes, as well as old Snake Eyes here. And he was like, whoa, stop that. I actually owe that man my life. And as they walk away into the shadows, they say, an act of mercy spared your stones today, boy. Let this be a lesson learned in manners. And Luffy's like I care. He gets all
He has
puffy.
learned no lesson.
He has learned nothing. And Raizo, hopefully acting as narrator, says, well, now that this is all over, let's report back to Kinemon. So, yay, we're finally leaving Udon.
And Luffy says, Marge, I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell everybody about my saucy tongue.
Good night. And then we go back to the ruins of Itachi, the Itachi port in Kuri. And how can this be? So the man from Kuri who stole the plans of the manship is like, at the end of the trail, was you all along. And Kinemon is looking at the plans, and he's like, we were looking for those things I was just talking about. It's like the plans to Kaido's mansion on Onigashima. Now we could devise a strategy for the foray into enemy territory. And Kinemon gives that guy.
Come on now.
Come on, you can do it. He has two names. You could do either of them.
And one of those two names is two words.
You could do either of the words.
Captain No Jaw.
Well, keep going. This is like a jammer game.
Does it start with a K?
No.
No.
No, that's the other guy who appeared in this chapter.
Yes.
Kinemon.
No, not Kinemon.
Kawamatsu.
Kawamatsu.
That's not him.
Kyoshiro.
No, that's not Kyoshiro.
Now
No,
you're just
that's not
messing with
Kyoshiro.
him. It's one of Zoro's moves.
Well, so Onigiri here.
Oh my god. He does look like an Onigiri, to be fair.
It's not Tatsumaki. It's not Tiger Strike.
We're just letting him sit out here.
His name kind of sounds like the name of Kizaru's nephew.
Wow.
Something Maru. Mr. Maru.
They call when I step on your foot and say Mr. Maru.
No, my father is Mr. Maru.
Maru, not with a K. A Maru, B Maru.
Oh, I could do this all day. We're never finishing this chapter. Okay, the other name he has is also the name of the move that Zoro uses against Kaku in NES Lobby.
Oh, Ishnu.
Oh my god. Ishnu Maru. Yes, of course. Mr. Ishnu Maru.
I'm not drawing that. Shit. What is that? Oh God, I forget the name of that attack again. This fella here.
Okay, his name is Ashura Doji or
Ashura
Shuten Maru.
Doji.
Shuten Maru.
Shuten Maru. There we go.
Yes, yeah.
So that guy.
And can you name the cow behind him? The bull.
Moosey.
You wish. Does that bull have a name? I don't even remember. I think it does, right?
Yeah, I do think it does.
I'll look it up if
Yeah, what was it?
So let me get through this page. So Ashura Maru here is Kenny wants to give him a pat on the shoulder. He's like, well done. And Dogstorm is like, I don't remember you being this thoughtful. And and he says, he always said that, dog. As I guess we're getting a phone call over here.
So I think, Steven, you pointed out this is line for line what Dogstorm said.
Yeah. From the last chapter.
He's just being a dick now.
Like, now you're just being a dick. Yeah.
How old is Dogstorm? Yeah.
40.
To be fair, he's whatever he is. To be fair, Shutamaru does seem to be kind of the butt of the jokes for the entire group. For whatever reason, everyone makes fun of him. Or demeans him, or yeah. Well, now he's an old grumpy guy who's just like sick of, like, I don't have to join you assholes. Just make fun of me all the time. Anyway, Sam.
Yes, and we turn the page, and Kinemon answers the phone. Is that you, Raizo? How did it go? Did you rescue Sir Luffy Taro? And Raizo is answering, yes, and much, much more. It would take too long to explain it all, but in brief, and then we guess.
By the way, Raizo's smail looks like some sort of crab or
like a little spider.
Like, maybe. You don't have to ask. Is that you, Raizo? Like, what are you doing?
So I guess Raizo fills Kinemon in, and we cut directly to Kinemon's response. 3,500 men? Sir Luffy rescued? And even Kawamatsu found and released? The labor camp taken over? He's just amazed by every new detail of the story. And what was this guy's name again?
Oh my god.
Shutamaru says, that number is preposterous. How did releasing Luffy turn into all of that? And Dogstorm is surprised to hear that they had Kawamatsu captive. So I guess they don't have a very good score on like who is where of the Akazaya 9.
Just like the readers.
Like they weren't really looking that hard for Kawamatsu so far, right?
I guess
I don't know.
Yeah,
they were looking, but I mean, if he's in in a prison cell that hasn't opened in 13 years, it's kind of hard to find him.
But like, Dogstorm is surprised that he was even in prison at all. So we come back to Udon, and Raizo is saying, and there are more soldiers to join us yet. There's one problem I should point out first, however. There are a number of weapons factories throughout Wano, but nearly all of them are making weapons for export to foreign lands.
Wait, before you continue, I just want to say, first off, I love that both Kinemon and Raizo, ridiculous-looking people in ridiculous poses, are like all shaded, and they definitely look way more serious than, and like almost like a Ren and Stimpy level of, well, not that level of detail. You know what I mean, though.
I see that in Raizo, yeah.
Yeah, and also Luffy being an idiot in the background,
yeah.
Which I did not realize upon my first reading of it. Yeah, I love all those. And also, Kinemon's Smail is making a fault face, which is also nice. Anyway, continue.
And Raizo continues to explain about the weapons. What samurai want to use most are swords and spears. But because Orochi has ordered possession of weapons in Wano a crime, they are difficult to acquire. If we do not have a blade for every warrior who wishes to fight, it will not be much of a battle. And Kinemon responds, yes, I see your point. It is of grave importance. Katanas are what we need. And he mounts his cock, and
you have to say it that way.
Mr. Bakbagak.
And he says,
Mr.
"We've made
Bakbagak.
progress here as well, but stay put for now to best assess our true strength." And the rooster is going, "Baka!" And Kinemon continues, "I will now head to Amigasa Village and make it our base. Collect your information and submit a detailed report, Raizo." And Raizo says, "I shall."
Yeah,
Raizo
what,
loves doing paperwork.
Yeah, there's a swordsman. There's a swords crafter in Amigasa Village, as we all know.
That is true. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what we're doing there.
it's good timing with the anime being at that part of the story, since
Yeah,
he
and
hasn't
what's-
really been in the manga at all.
And what's the name of the guy that Zoro is scuffling with?
Yukimaru.
Yukimar. Yeah, he's got some swords too.
Yeah, he's got a couple.
So
Guys
back
were
at
nice enough
Bandits
to
Bridge,
Sam to help him out.
back at the Bandits Bridge in Ringo. I guess that's Hiyori saying, "Well, Kawamatsu, I never thought that I would meet you again like this." And he says, "To see you alive and well this way is the greatest gift I could imagine, Lady Hiyori." And Zoro's thinking to himself, "That's right. She said that after her parents died. She's raised by a kappa." And she's crying. She's just hanging on Kawamatsu. She says, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for getting scared and running away from you. And you kept giving what little food you could find to me. And I saw how you grew weaker and weaker over the years. I knew that you could survive on your own and trembled at the thought of you dying just because of me." As Kawamatsu puts a reassuring hand on her shoulder, and she says, "So I was scared, and that's why I ran away from you." And he looks delighted. He says, "Why, what a kind-hearted reason. That was why. Well, I can tell you that I put on quite a lot of weight thanks to that." Yeah, it is weird. He's been in prison for 13 years.
Eating poisoned fish.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Yukimaru in the background notices something coming over the hills there, and it's a group of gunners. They got and Yukimaru takes it head on there, and he's bleeding. He's bleeding all over the place. Oh God, he's bleeding.
Yeah. Wow. That's like some, like no scope headshots there that they just appear through the mist, and then he's immediately getting shot. But he collapses onto the bridge, and Zoro turns around to see what that is, and so does Kawamatsu. And these guys apparently are specifically there for revenge against Yukimaru. They've got magnums meant for wild beasts, and all their guns are smoking. They say, "You're going to pay for stealing our weapons. We're taking them all back today." And they wonder, "Are those men with you?" Referring to Zoro and Kawamatsu, who both look like they are about to mean business. And Kawamatsu shoos Lady Hiyori away to get out of the line of fire. "Oh well, who cares? We'll shoot them all dead." And they all cock their guns in unison, as Zoro readies his sword, and he and Kawamatsu kind of share a brief look, and then they burst into motions. Very dynamic panel here where Kawamatsu is going one direction towards the camera, and Zoro is going the other way, and just laying waste to these hapless fools. And as they finish, like these guys are still in midair, and Zoro is like peering around to look at Yukimaru, who is now rushing away on the other side of the bridge. And then there's a tiny little panel of the guys falling to the ground, and Zoro is chasing after Yukimaru. "Why are you running away again?" And we get a close up of Yukimaru, who seems to he's crying. He's apparently in quite some emotional state right now, and he's saying, "Oh, Master Kawamatsu, I'm so glad you're alive and well." So that's what we see. All of his looks of shock is that he was realizing earlier that this is indeed Kawamatsu, and he has some kind of connection to him. That's the end of the chapter.
He also did get shot. Let's not forget.
He's crying.
Well,
He
yeah, that's
hurts.
why he's crying.
That makes more sense. I
He's
would
a
probably
big
cry too. So that's gonna do it for 9:52. Let's go around the horn. Sam, let's start with you.
Oh, I thought this chapter was okay. The last few months have been really good. Like it's just been a really exciting week, one after the other. And this chapter is it's more functional over like outright exciting. I'm very sensitive to whenever Oda just introduces a bunch of new characters because it just sort of bugs me. Like, oh no, it's just like more. It's just more stuff. More.
Yeah.
The mechanism of the plot is just sort of unwieldy. The more characters you introduce, and especially in this arc where we're already struggling as we are to like keep track of like who's doing what. I like I like Kaido and Big Mom fighting for a whole day. Reminds me of like it makes me think about like Akainu versus Aokiji on Punk Hazard or something. Like it's got this kind of fable quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, it's like a lot of details for subplots that I'm interested in, but like we really need to actually get somewhere with them at this point because just reminding us that, oh yeah, Ryuma is a factor here. I can't wait to find out what the deal with Ryuma is, but just name dropping him every now and then isn't that exciting. So,
anything else, Sam? Or
that should do it.
All right, Caleb. What were your thoughts on the chapter?
Yeah. So one moment I thought was pretty funny was Chopper's thing, where apparently this virus was no big deal at all, and then how he also kind of just writes off the mob of prisoners. They're like, "Oh, you cannon fodder don't matter. We're here for Luffy." It was kind of felt like a little tongue in cheek the way that was framed, and I also found it interesting that Kawamatsu, when he's approaching Zoro and Yukimaru, how he says like, "Oh, a samurai and a monk fighting," but if Yukimaru apparently has some history with him, was he just being coy? Like we have to imagine he would recognize Yukimaru, who's pretty distinctive looking.
Actually, on that, didn't the chapter before wasn't Kawamatsu off to see a certain person?
Yes.
Right, so he probably knew where he was going, and he is just being coy in that situation. And like, yeah, he totally knows who the monk is. He's just not naming him.
Or maybe Yukimaru had less, let's call it facial hair, back in the day.
It's possible too.
Yeah, maybe it looked a little different. I mean, who knows? He didn't recognize Hiyori either, which I guess makes sense, but maybe Kawamatsu, and I could relate here, is just really bad at recognizing people. Maybe he has face blindness or something. Like, we don't know.
He thought she was Robin.
Yeah, I mean, reasonable. The bangs are a big dead giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Caleb. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, that was my thoughts.
Steven.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. I thought it was an okay chapter. It is very functional. Where there's not a whole lot of like really just kind of cool stuff happening. It's just kind of maneuvering characters. I did not expect there to be an actual scene of Big Mom and Kaido fighting. So I was that was not a letdown in any particular way to me. I forget if I had said this on the podcast last time, if we had talked about do we think they're gonna be shown fighting or not, and I think my opinion was that no, we're not going to see them fighting, because in order to see them fighting, it would require Oda to actually draw what Onigashima looks like up close, and he's been very careful about not doing that so far. So it's just not something that is meant to, like, we're not meant to know that yet, or to get really in depth with it. So that it was played for good laughs, but I mean, obviously, I think whatever happens between them, I don't think it's necessarily meant to be like climactic or final in any way, since obviously they both are going to have roles to play in this arc one way or another. The one thing that I did find out, while I did like the the Yakuza bosses. I like their designs, and it did kind of close one loophole, which I was reminded of because I was recently, turning in all of my, notes and SBS stuff for the last volume that came out, and I was reminded that Tsunagoro, the guy with the funky like straw hat, kind of splayed out on his head, we did see him earlier in the prison arc, and I remember being like, that's not like, is that that's not Kawamatsu? Is that Denjiro? Like, who is that guy? And then it didn't get brought up again. So it was nice to see, okay, so that's one of the Yakuza bosses. I like their designs. The one thing that did kind of irk me about this chapter is that you have, Hiyori saying, oh my gosh, it's Kawamatsu. I'm so glad to see you alive and well. You have the Yakuza bosses going to Hyo and saying, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you alive and well. You get the phone call where it's like, oh my gosh, they've released Kawamatsu. He's alive and well. And then Kawamatsu sees Hiyori and is like, oh, I can't believe it's you, Hiyori. You're alive and well. And then at the very end, they have Gyukimaru going, oh, it's Kawamatsu. He's alive and well. And it just felt like very
redundant. He should have named the chapter that, probably.
Yeah.
In retrospect.
Alive and well.
It was a little bit, one note in terms of like how each scene played out. And
in all seriousness, if he named the chapter that, at least you'd be like, oh, he's going for a theme here, like he's a thesis, like he's repeating over and over again. But it does sound more like an accident, kind of.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Steven, was that line the same every time? Was it like Buji de Yokata or something?
I mean, it was something along those lines, and
okay.
There's only so many different ways that you can phrase something like that.
Right.
With these people who haven't seen each other in a long time and so on. So I don't know. I mean, it's the sort of thing that you would kind of expect, like he has to show these reactions that the characters have to each other, because that's part of fleshing out who they are. But having them all, concentrated in such a short span of time gets a little repetitive. And it was also very confusing because it was like, oh my God, so what is this Gyukimaru's guy's deal anyway? Like, he's been very mysterious and kind of intense and annoying in the sense that he keeps messing with Zoro. So this is like close to a straw that breaks the camel's back thing of like, okay, come on, just like, what's this guy's deal? Just tell us already.
Mr. Steve Yurko, what did you think of this chapter?
I don't know what else I could really follow after all of that. It felt like a really short chapter. I was like reading it, I'm like, crap, it's over already. And I feel like we've only just begun, like, I think, with some of the stuff going on in this chapter. It's like, cool, we're getting out of Udon, and great, Kawamatsu's reuniting with Hiyori, and hey, maybe we'll finally figure out what's going on with this, weapon thief guy. And no, it's just kind of still left open. But while that happens, of course, now we have the plans for Kaido's mansion, so we could finally kind of solidify this whole operation here. Do like Chopper's moment of being able to heal all these prisoners. That's good. That's a little bit of progression for that little guy. I do enjoy Queen looking for any excuse to leave Onigashima during the battle between the two emperors, but I don't know. This one didn't really stick with me as much this week, I gotta say. Not particularly wrong with it. I just felt like it barely got started. So now I have to wait another week.
Yeah, you do. Ed.
I don't have much to add. There was a lot of mechanics there's a lot of talking, like, wrapping up all of the excavation labor camp and getting all that. I did like the Zoro bits, but it's still like, they're fighting some random guy and Yukimaru is running away, and we're getting further. Like, this chapter just raises more questions than answers, really. And I don't really have much to add to what you guys were saying about it, but yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, not to be too repetitive here. No, but I do agree. I did like the Chopper bit. I'll start with that. it kind of reminded me like Steve, I think, I am not an artist and Steve is an artist. And when Steve does something, I think you said something once like, for me, drawing is not like really something I think about. It's just something I'm able to do. And for me, that kind of reminded me of what Chopper was saying here. Like, obviously, we can't just take out a bunch of beakers and test tubes and figure out a cure for a virus. But for Chopper, this is just kind of another day at work or whatever.
The office.
At the office, I was gonna say, but I don't know if that's very applicable for Chopper. So I like that note, and I'm sure that's almost how like Oda kind of feels. Well, I don't know, but in producing this manga, like, oh my god, that's amazing. How did you figure that out? And it's like, nah, it wasn't that difficult. Even though I completely agree with Sam about introducing way too many characters this arc, I really do enjoy that page. I think Hio looks super cool, and the new guys all look unique and Oda-esque, and I like the dynamic poses, as Stephen put it. That's probably the highlight of this chapter for me, besides their interactions with Luffy. Somehow, though, in a chapter with not much Hio, it is a chapter of all exposition. Like, there is just... It's just explaining what's going on, and so it makes it... it feels like not much happens, and yet it feels slow at times. So it's definitely got some issues, but I really liked the stuff with Otoko, with Chopper, with Hio, and with the Smales. I think I have found...
Wait, Otoko is in this chapter? Yeah,
Otama.
okay.
That's what I meant. Sorry, that's gonna happen. So yeah. Also, I didn't notice until just now that Queen's Cronies have a Queen sign, and didn't this happen earlier too, where they had a sign that just said Queen? I know something like that happened in Dressrosa too, where they had like I think Bartolomeo had like a sign in English. But yeah, no, that's fun. Yeah, I don't have much to add. It's fine. It suffers from that thing. Ed, you've like, we need to come up with like a name for your thesis on what makes a good One Piece chapter and what doesn't. And jumping around scenes almost always makes a chapter less palatable. Not necessarily worse, but just not as good.
Well, it doesn't matter as much in volume form, but
no, that's
on a weekly basis, like, makes it harder to read.
Yeah,
it's less satisfying.
And if you're listening to this when you're reading volumes, I'm sure this chapter isn't as slow because it's part of a that greater story. But we don't know what happens next, so yeah, I guess that's it. Why don't we talk a little bit about that one shot though? This is our discussion about the One Piece one shot from Boichi, the artist for Dr. Stone. And with us to talk about this one shot, the whole crew is still here, but we also have the translator for Dr. Stone still with us. Caleb's here. How's it going, Caleb?
Hey, yeah, I'm still here.
And we're talking about Zoro Overboard. This is based on chapter 51 and 52 of the original One Piece series. So, do you want to first kind of talk about anything you know about behind this? This is the second one of these we've gotten after the Food Wars one.
Right.
Yeah, it's the second. I think it's like the second one of an artist taking on One Piece, but this was specifically like a cover version where it's like he's literally just drawing the chapter in his own style, whereas the Sanji one was an original story.
Mm-hmm. No, they've suggested that there's going to be more crossover stuff like this coming up.
Yeah,
right?
cover. Yeah, they called it cover.
So it'll be more covers. It'll be more recreations.
That's what I would assume.
I guess it's easier too to instead of coming up with something completely new.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Caleb, what were your first thoughts when you heard about this and then when you saw this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was very excited when I heard about it. I was sort of wondering who was going to get to translate it, like if they were going to go to either Stephen or myself. In the end, they actually went to my friend Stefan, who was the translator on Jujutsu Kaisen. But the funny thing is, when he got the files, he realized, oh, it's exactly the same dialogue. So he got paid the normal chapter fee to basically just reference from the vault chapters 51 and 52 and copy it over exactly.
Wow.
Which is kind of funny.
What a deal.
And yeah, if you notice, if you read through it and compare to the original, you'll notice, yeah, every line of dialogue, every sound effect, even, and most of the sound effects are there. They've been replicated by Boichi. They're exactly the same. So.
I would imagine though that just in terms of like what the the quote unquote translator's job in this case is, that I didn't do a direct side by side like you did, but I would imagine that in terms of like which, like, how many bubbles does this line of text go into? Is it split across more page space than it was in the original scene? Like maybe there could have been some stuff like that would require someone to actually take a look at it and be like, all right, we need to split this here and this, stuff like that, which
No, on that note, actually on page 34, 35, you have Mihawk's lines, my name is Dracula Mihawk and it's too soon for you to challenge me or whatever, and I noticed that those actually were switched from the original, so that might have been some sort of concern along the lines of what you're talking about.
So yeah, I know, Caleb, you went through I guess you went through the original and the new one. So yeah, is there anything that you specifically saw or that specifically stuck out to you that was, I guess, changed beyond the dialogue? Yeah.
Sure. So right off the bat, I think the most striking thing is the One Piece globe. The globe of the world.
Oh yeah, I did love that. Obviously,
Of course you would.
In One Piece, especially early on, it was the world itself was always sort of abstracted. Like they'd sort of show it almost like on a map with like just like a white background. But Boichi here has very clearly placed it in space. There is space. There's outer space in this universe, and of course at the very end we get the moon too, which is pretty important, as we all know. So yeah, I found that pretty striking because it's sort of it's a different take. You sort of don't imagine outer space when you're in the world of One Piece, like sailing around the water.
Oh, but, I do. I'm pretty sure Zach does too.
Yeah, he's right. I do.
You think that's just like a sort of, a nod for like Boichi sort of putting his own twist on it because of Dr. Stone having
that's what I figured.
So many, space shots and stuff.
Yeah, and I also think it was sort of stylistic too, in the sense that like in the original chapters, it's just continuing on from chapter 50 and 51, 52, 53, and you're already in One Piece. But here it's, since it's sort of standalone, he's like, okay, I'm bringing you into this world from the outside as an outsider.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, my favorite twist that he put together in this. I thought that was really cool. I almost wish that Oda had kind of stuff like that every so often. But I mean, I understand, he keeps things in a small scope and he's bringing things out slowly.
Right. So this is sort of the opposite of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Go
ahead, Stephen.
Yeah,
I did love the choice to go ahead and just draw the cover story too of Buggy and Alvida. That's easily a thing that you could probably have left out just to focus on the chapter itself, but like that it shows the dedication to the concept of covering the manga to even put in this just this random entry into this ongoing cover story that has nothing to do with anything in the one shot. That was neat.
And the crab got way creepier looking.
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably was thinking, well, if I do this, then I can draw more One Piece characters that wouldn't be in it otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Oh,
go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, diving right into the start of it. One big thing I noticed is that Zoro and Mihawk's positions are actually reversed versus the original, from the perspective of like the audience. That in the original, Zoro's on the left, Mihawk's on the right, and Luffy and Patty and Carne and all those guys are watching. Here, they're switched for some reason, and I went through and sort of tried to see if there was a reason for that, like if that affected the action in any way, but inconclusive. No, there doesn't seem to be a reason.
Yeah, they're just sort of going. It's just a different way of. I don't think it's that involved. It's just a different point of view.
Yeah.
So yeah, Caleb, is there any? I guess what was your favorite take that he had here that was different?
Ooh. Okay, there were a lot of good double spreads. Let me try to pull them up.
I'll throw it around too first, and then I could come back to you if you want, Caleb. If anyone else has one at the top of their head.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I love the ugly Zoro at the end where he's putting his sword up at the sky, and his teeth are all bloody. And
yeah, that Zoro is yeah.
Because it feels like half of this chapter is, double page spreads.
Right.
So you have a lot to choose from, Stephen. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do kind of like even though I don't know, maybe it's just because it's so looks so realistic that the pose looks a little odd, but I do kind of like the one where it's Zoro in his 3-sword action pose where the Wado Ichimonji in his mouth is like right up in front of the camera, and it's got like the shine effects.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that like works into like because he drew all the panels above it and then just has the one long panel at the bottom. I thought that was a neat a layout. It's cool.
Yeah, and actually going right off of that one, where he's like starting the pose for 3,000 Worlds, I think my favorite spread was when he's executing 3,000 Worlds.
Yeah, that's good.
That's on page 22 and 23. It's compared to the original, it's obviously much more action oriented because the original didn't have these giant spaces to work with. But yeah, no, I really liked like Mihawk's sort of swishing around and his ridiculous stomp, where you can like see the force of his own move through his foot. Actually, like that's just like telling you how intense he was moving when cutting down Zoro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like the one after that. It's like one of the only. It's a super simple panel, and I like that one a lot. The wounds on the back are swordsman's shame one. Yeah, no, I that's probably my favorite of these. I think I mentioned before. The ugly Zoro might be too ugly for me. At the end, the 40 to 41. I don't know how much my style that is, but
Well,
yeah.
I mean, all of it, like that's his style, is this sort of harsh, grotesque style. I'm glad Oda doesn't draw like that, but it's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's different, definitely. Yeah,
it's
not.
I keep
bad
forgetting.
that it's different, but yeah.
I keep forgetting he's pulled from out of the water. That's why he's so wet. But I'm saying, I'm like, okay, I understand he's crying, but I can't cry that.
Well, to be
Looks
fair,
like
if Boichi is
it's like
taking
Mercury or something.
if Oda is taking if Boichi is taking Oda's crying, ugly crying to his level, I guess this does kind of fit in well because Oda does
Bloody
have some ugly
crying.
cries. It's bloody ugly. That's what it is.
Well, this is getting to like be like body horror crying.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone. This is one of Zoro next to the nothing happened thing. This is one of Zoro's more what do you call it? Devastating.
Roanoa
losses.
Zoro's bloodiest hits.
Yeah, could be that.
Available on 1 CD or 2 cassette tapes.
I see what you're doing here. So Caleb, coming from someone who is I'm gonna assume a big fan of Dr. Stone and a fan of One Piece. If you could have him do any other chapter, Which do you think he would excel at? Which would have the ugliest crying?
Well, I mean, probably my favorite moment in all of One Piece is Robin's "I Want to Live." So that's pretty good, ugly crying. But I don't know. But Boichi does the action really well, as we've seen in this chapter. So maybe that wouldn't be the best one. Or like maybe storming Arlong Park, because you got some crying there, and then you got the start to some action. That'd be a good spot.
Yeah. So you also do My Hero. What chapter would you want to pick there?
Oh boy. You mean for Boichi to draw My Hero, or for Horikoshi to draw One Piece?
For Horikoshi to draw One Piece. That should have been clearer.
Jeez. What is Horikoshi good at? Horikoshi's good at a lot of very like weird perspective shots, and like showing characters strange poses from unusual perspectives.
It's good at hands.
Yeah, and hands too. That's a big one.
Oda had a lot of trouble with it. I know. You mentioned.
So, okay, yeah, anything with Robin then, because there you go, lots of hands too.
That's true.
I feel like maybe this is just because there's kind of a similar like a kind of scene construction aspect to it, but I honestly feel like he would be pretty good given all of the like the student competition scenes and like that sort of arc, that he would do a really good Dressrosa Coliseum thing with like Yachts being the crazy announcer, and that there's a lot of similarity to some stuff that he's done with My Hero that would translate over well, I think.
What about the one where Germa gets their big moment in during the tea party? Just because there's a super
the costumes,
super villain.
the capes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or you could do the scene with Pound crying.
Yeah.
Or Davy Back's fight. That's kind of similar to the competition aspect too.
Yeah.
He could do like oh god, was it? I'm trying to remember which flashback. If it was Zoro or Usopp, wasn't there like one of the kid flashbacks where he's like crying and he's like covering one of his eyes with his hand as he's sniffling, but then he could just draw a whole bunch of hands instead? Like that would be pretty good.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts? I'll give you first dibs, Caleb.
Yeah, the other sort of cool thing I noticed in this one shot was page 29. No, I'm sorry, not 29, 30. Which one was it? 32, 33. We get entirely new ad-libbing of Luffy attacking Mihawk that was not in the original. In the original, Luffy just reaches over and tries to like dive bomb Mihawk, but here he's throwing all these punches and Mihawk is just sidestepping them all. So that's kind of fun too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he just like crashes into the boards originally.
Yeah, and just pulls himself out and then just sits there and doesn't do anything. But
I also liked the very subtle comedy bit. I think it's on page 15 here with Usopp just looking super 2D when his reaction to Luffy. There were a few little comedy bits like that I really enjoyed from him. That it's very different than anything I've seen in One Piece. But yet it kind of fits, the world, I thought, pretty well. He also really liked drawing the seagulls, which I liked, and the backgrounds and that kind of stuff that you don't see as much in early Oda work, especially since he probably didn't have as many assistants to help him with that on a weekly basis. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, though.
And on that note, actually, the seagulls also, as to what I was saying earlier about like the globe, they kind of draw us into the world and they take us out at both the start and the end. The seagulls
they also deliver the newspaper, so
that's true.
Hard. Yeah. So yeah, I think unless there's anything else you want to mention, I think we could probably leave it there.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's a really cool concept to give these other artists kind of a opportunity to draw One Piece. It's cool. It's I don't know. I like it. Steve.
But I like One Piece staying the way it
yes. Yeah. Well, I think we should also make that clear, since I know there's a lot of fans who are like, well, Oda shouldn't be doing this anymore now. Give it to another
Whoa. That's not.
Yeah,
that's not say things we can't take back.
Okay. All right, so that's gonna do it. Let's get into some anime. Sam, you ready?
Ready. This is the anime recap for episode 898, the headliner, Hawkins the Magician Appears. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have, as usual, Ed.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey. So we've got some more One Piece to talk about this week.
Less than I had hoped.
This is a slow episode.
I'm enjoying it still, but it is slow.
The title card this week begins at 3 minutes and 24 seconds. I don't think there's been one egregious title card since the Wano reboot started.
No,
they've been pretty good about that for a while now, I think.
You know, in the intro, there was more Hawkins than usual in the opening this week.
Was it because of the little preview window thing they do?
Is that what that is? Like, it's surrounded by like rocks and stuff?
Yeah,
like
that's
broken.
They show you scenes from the upcoming episode.
Ah, wow. That's impressive, actually.
I like it as a way of
it shows I don't watch the intro every week.
Yeah, I mean it keeps the actual like intro specific animation like more varied and dense. They've got this little section that's interchangeable. Anyway, the episode begins with Hawkins. He's kind of he's doing his Hawkins thing, and he's reading all of his cards. He's saying the probability of you two surviving after a month is 19%. And obviously Luffy and Zoro are not too impressed by that, but Hawkins is asking, do you know who... what?
It's good enough for them.
Yeah.
That's enough.
We can work with 19%.
Yeah, really.
Hawkins is asking him, do you know who rules this country in the shadows? And Zoro, who is still trying a little bit to be diligent, is like, we don't know. But Luffy just straight up blabs, oh, we're after Kaido, the Emperor of the Sea.
No, he's Luffy. What are you gonna do? It's Luffy.
While Luffy and Zoro are hanging out, Zoro is asking Luffy. He's asking Luffy about the sword that he's got. The what was it? The Nidai Kitetsu.
Yeah, Nidai Kitetsu. He's like, give it, and Luffy's like, no.
Well, specifically, Luffy's like, no, Deko Zoro.
That's right. Did you ever watch Sergeant Frog?
No.
Okay, it's a good show, and in Japanese, like all the frogs have weird like speech tics and what
frog puns. And
well,
stuff?
no, but like the one who's like an old timey ninja ends his sentences with Deko Zaro.
Okay.
The one voiced by J. Michael Tate.
Friend
of the show.
Luffy is very indignant about letting Zoro. Zoro just wants to see the sword, you know.
Yeah, give it.
I think when this chapter came out, Jill was the one who made the joke, like, Luffy, what do you have there? A sword. No.
We must have used that for episode art, probably.
I think we considered using it with like Otoko.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So they get into a fight. Luffy is saying, "This is a sword fight. I know what to do," and then he just goes around punching dudes, which is a great.
There's
joke.
more. This fight is longer.
It sure is. There's a lot of fighting as Luffy and Zoro are kind of dealing with Hawkins' henchmen, and Hawkins. They periodically cut back to Hawkins, who's just standing there doing nothing, but kind of like looking at his cards, and like there'll be a shot where he's reading one card, pause, slowly shifts one card, pause.
Yeah. That's
this is easily
this
like the worst paced episode of Wano so far.
Yeah, I was just sort of like checking my phone during this.
Yeah,
like,
there's
just beating up randos.
Yeah, beating up randos. There's a guy who's like trying to jab Zoro from behind, but Zoro gets a cool like backhand with his sword on him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Zoro's obviously stronger than all these people. That's an issue with Zoro. This whole like supposed time skip is being like he gets to have cool fights sometimes, but he's just so much stronger than everyone he faces most of the time.
Yeah. So Luffy, he's still punching. That's the only thing he knows how to do. But there is a scene where he like cuts a bunch of guys' swords in half with his sword.
That was very cool. Yeah, some of this was cool.
There's a guy with hair braids who's like grabbing Zoro and tying him up with the braids, and another guy with a hammer who's like creating fissures. There's a little scene where Luffy almost falls into the crater, but he catches himself because he's rubber. He can stretch and just grab.
I feel like that hair guy, like we first saw him in Sabati Archipelago. Like he's been a member of Hawkins' crew. Like
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, for a long time.
And Luffy does the gum battle axe on the hammer guy, and Hawkins is still just kind of standing around doing nothing. And that brings us to the eye catch of the episode. Then there's kind of a scene where
still just Luffy and Zoro, right?
Yeah, well, Luffy and Zoro, they get into a tussle with the little lizard guys that the henchmen are riding, and Luffy kind of tosses one, throws it at Hawkins. That's when Hawkins uses his straw sword thing, and he catches the lizard midair with his sword. Looks painful.
You know, it's interesting. Like before Whole Cake Island, you would have said, a lot of people would have said, Capone was one of the least interesting supernovas or New World pirates. And Hawkins is getting featured in this arc, and I have seen no increase in esteem for Hawkins. People still don't like Hawkins.
Yeah, he needs.
It's not very interesting. He's kind of a dick.
He needs more of a story before I think people will start to.
He needs a nice wife.
He's just. he's just the guy with very complicated powers right now.
He's the guy with the goth makeup.
Speaking of his complicated powers, we have a scene where Zoro slashes Hawkins right in the face. Luffy has his moment where his jaw is wide, is hitting the ground like, whoa, that was fast. Good going, Zoro.
And then we slowly explain Hawkins' powers for people who may have missed it.
Yeah, he's doing the voodoo doll thing with his straw fruit, where he has basically voodoo dolls of his henchmen inside of him. And so like his life force is attached to them. So if he gets slashed in the face, he can move that slash onto his henchmen via voodoo. And he says, you know, if I've got 10 people inside of me, if I've got 10 souls, I can die up to 10 times.
Mm-hmm. His cool ghost thing, or whatever it comes out of his sword, that's pretty cool.
The big straw man or whatever it is, there's a very, very long summoning scene. The sky goes dark. The big monster voodoo straw man comes out. I've always liked the nails for fingers.
Yeah. You rocked the dragon.
Yeah. The thing's coming out. It looks very menacing, but it behaves according to the tarot cards that Hawkins draws. So he draws a card. It's the reversed fool, which is, I guess, like a bad card. His powers are all about like making gambles and just kind of leaving things to fate. So he draws the reversed fool, which has this effect on his team, on his henchmen, and they all start fighting each other and beating each other up. And it's in the midst of this that Komachio arrives and like swoops Luffy and Zoro up because Otama has a fever and she like needs help like right now. So Luffy and Zoro are looking after her. Guys are trying to attack them from behind as Komachio is running away, but they've got the fight handled. Hawkins draws another card. It's the reversed Hierophant, which is a good card, I guess. Which is the card of pursuit, which allows the straw man to start chasing Luffy and Zoro.
That was also Kakyoin's stand from JoJo. Green. Yeah.
And then that is our to be continued card. General thoughts on the episode, Ed?
That was a very long summoning scene.
It's really long. Like this, it's comical how drawn out some of these scenes are.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's early in the arc, so I'm still okay with it. Like, this episode didn't earn my full attention.
This is the first one of the reboot that's disappointed me so far. like the other ones, I think they've been really clever in how they draw things out, and there's been a lot of scenes that they have had the chance to kind of embellish on and like get more story texture out of. But this one just kind of feels back to basics, where we're just kind of like just making up dumb reasons for why, like, oh, we gotta get a shot of this guy going what, and then a shot of this guy going what, and like the Hawkins fight is not a big fight overall. It's like a chapter in the manga, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I wish it was an episode in the anime. Like I wish that we had like one solid episode that just covered the whole Hawkins fight from beginning to end. Which I don't think would have messed with the pacing too much, but yeah, and I think like as far as the animation and the action goes, nothing really blew my mind here. Nothing was like, it's not bad, but it feels much more standard. Like this feels much more out of step with how good everything before it has been.
The summoning thing did kind of look cool. I also
I forgot to mention. I did forget to mention the straw man, the big voodoo doll. The sound design, unbelievable. Like the weird sounds it makes, where it's like it sounds like at once
stand out to me.
It's like the the Friday the 13th theme, the cha 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 cha.
Yeah.
Like it's like that, but it like ramps up and like gets like more intense and spookier as it goes. I thought that was actually pretty amazing.
They show how sick Tama is by like making her face steam. Like there's steam rising off of her face.
Yeah,
like,
she's in trouble.
That's how we show people are sick.
Yeah, she's heating up. She's sick, but she's got two good dads looking after her.
The dog's the only one who's
maybe they're not good dads, but they're dads.
Yeah, the dog is more important.
Any general thoughts you want to share, Ed?
No, there's not much to say about this.
All right, I think we're ready to move on to the next segment then.
Okay.
No, guys. Mr. Piece Together is my father. Anyway, we're going to go through the regular Piece Together segment here with questions, comments, and theories from all of you good folks out there. And of course, we start with Ed.
This piece.
Let's start on Discord with all our good Patreon subscribers. You could join Discord, our Discord channel. Just join us on Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. What do we got this week, Sam?
Our first disc piece this week comes from, this disc piece is a couple weeks old now, but it comes from Morgil, who asks, so a couple of weeks ago, you guys were talking about the big Viz box sets and the potential for a future fourth box. Since each box had a mini bonus volume with stuff like Romance Dawn or Chapter 0, what would you like to see included in the fourth box?
Wanted.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd like to see Wanted.
Wanted's like a full volume, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shut up, Sam. No, they also have the film Z chapter and the gold chapters, right? Those. And that, what do you call it?
I was gonna say, what was the third? What was the third one? The bonus in the third set? I don't recall.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which one was Cross Epic?
Oh, that must be the third one.
That must be the third one, yeah.
That must be the third one.
I'm just looking. What's in
they don't have.
Yeah, go ahead.
They don't have a single booklet version of Romance Dawn version 2, right? The one. Like I think Viz in like the old print Shonen Jump, I think they ran it, but
yeah.
Interesting.
A data book? Come on, give Steven some work here.
No, don't.
What's next?
Our next disc piece comes from Stella, who says, broke, reading scans on Friday, a day that already has a lot going for it. Woke, reading the official release on Sunday, a day that needs all the help it can get.
Instead of going to church.
No, I do agree. This podcast has just about cured my Sunday blues every week. It helps me seriously, it helps me forget that I have to go to work tomorrow. Until just now when I just said it. So yeah, I agree. I think there's no reason to read it on Friday. Your Friday should be action packed as well as your Saturdays. So just wait 48 hours. We've discussed this already this week. We could move on.
And then our final diss piece comes from Grim, who asks or says, Capone is the kind of father we should all aspire to be. Also, does it seem like Otama's ability is a bit overpowered? I mean, if it works on animals and smile users, I would assume it would also work for regular zone users. It's weird to think that we're one dongo away from somebody like Lucci being a total bro. I think that's the cutoff.
Kaido. I mean, if we go by that logic, you know.
I think proper zone users are kind of the cutoff. I think that's where it stops working.
My assumption, my assumption is just that the cutoff line is which characters are meant to be funny and which characters are meant to be menacing, because all the ones she's used it on are just kind of goofballs. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does some sort of her powers aren't strong enough to tempt a true master Zoan or something like that.
Are there any smile users that aren't goofy?
That's a very good question.
Some of them are Pluto.
Well, Kaido's not
smile as far as we know.
Oh, I thought you said Zoan. I don't know about any smile users that are not extremely silly. So,
but Kaku is a lock.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like Kaku would fall for it.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to eat it. That's the whole thing. So, it's overpowered, right. But you also have to either have your mouth open. So Luffy would be susceptible if he were a zone or a smile fruit user. You have to either have your mouth open or be willing to eat the dongo.
You have to be temptable and be like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah, so you have to be a little stupid, probably, or gullible, or gluttonous. So yeah. As Steven said, if you're funny enough,
I don't think it would work on Lucci, for example.
Yeah, I don't see. What do you think Lucci eats? Do we know?
Raw meat.
What?
Fancy feast.
Drink water.
out of a little glass goblet.
But he just licks it with his little tongue, just a little bit, like a cat. I don't know why I just did that, as if people would see that. I did a little cat.
It's a video podcast.
Oh, right, of course. So that's it for Discord, right? Oh, what an amazing idea. Thank you, Ed.
Is it too late to change the title?
Next one comes from Myra, and she said, I have a question for you. What are your theories on Luffy's mom? I personally subscribe to the theory that she was a celestial dragon, but I would be interested to hear your opinions.
It's interesting.
Oda did not sound too committed to her.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I was just I've assumed, since we have been introduced to Dodon, that is his de facto mom, and that we will never see the biological one. But that might be kind of a cop-out answer, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would have been more confident about saying that before Sanji's extra backstory came around, and then it was like, okay, well, anyone who hasn't had the entire their entire background explained is capable of getting an extra. Yeah,
except for Zoro, who doesn't even have parents, really.
Well, but look at what look at where this arc is taking us. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You could have parents. Next question. Tig Sphinx said, I realize that this is more than a little late, and you may have already covered this, but did your subscriptions to Shonen Jump work in Japan? That's the first question he has. or she?
On the app, they did.
Were
Yeah.
they? Yeah, they did. I don't. Well, not obviously.
Not on
I
the
don't think they
desktop.
worked on the web version.
No.
That's
desktop
what
version.
Maddie said too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the app is like it's region locked where you download it, so it's just data.
Yeah. And Manga Plus doesn't work in Japan, right? That's the only country
No.
it does not work in. Yeah.
Japan, Korea, China.
Oh, I didn't know it was all of those.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I learned something there today. The thing is, I think in those 3 countries, One Piece is also pretty readily available.
Right, they've got their own platforms.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I know in Hong Kong they had One Piece pretty readily available. But yeah, I don't know about China or South Korea. But Japan obviously has a lot of avenues to read One Piece. He also says that they recently got back from Cyprus and found that they could access the new chapters via the app, but not through the website. So I'm curious if any of you tried that in Japan. So there you go. That was the answer. Or if you just stuck to Manga Plus, which, as we also discussed, not available in Japan. Also found out, this person also found out that there were pirate cruises in Cyprus. The Jolly Roger in Paphos and the Black Pearl. I'm not going to pronounce any of this even close. Aya Napa. If someone had a cruise ship that was a model of the Going Merry or the Thousand Sunny, would you try to go on it? Would you expect it to be a family cruise or an adult cruise with an open bar? And what activities would you expect or demand? I like that question a lot. That's a good question.
I just want to ride on the boat. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't have holes on the bottom, like like the Going Merry eventually did. I'd be fine.
I mean, who am I to not want to go on a giant straw hat boat?
Well, they had both of those in Japan.
Yeah, I know.
But unfortunately, it
And
was way before we were there. Yeah, I don't think those have been around for a while. I'm not sure.
What kind of activities?
What activities? Yeah.
I demand that the ship goes in the sky.
So wait, the Going Merry would go in the sky, and the Thousand Sunny would go under the water, and those are our demands.
Which would you rather?
I mean, the Thousand Sunny, not to knock the Going Merry, who obviously we all love, but the Thousand Sunny is capable of doing a lot more. And if it has the full
I just meant
capabilities,
would you rather go in the air or go into the sea?
The air. The sea is.
Now, is there anything up in the air?
The sea's scary.
It's different than an airplane.
So is the air.
That's true. But I know. So Grant is up to the Fishman Island, like he was doing those early Fishman Island chapters, and that freaking anglerfish. That would. I'd poop my pants if I saw that. Just to be honest here, and just and then I'd go into the bath after. Wasn't that the line?
Yeah.
That's it for emails.
Don't hold it in before you go to the bath.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'd be on the Thousand Sunny cruise, 30,000 meters under the sea. I'd see the anglerfish, poop my pants, and then go into the bath. That is how that would work.
Sounds better than pooping after you get back.
Exactly.
As the common saying goes.
Yeah. It's better to have pooped before a bath than to never at all.
Than to never pooped at all.
Twas better to have pooped before the. I'm gonna write that down, even though I know it's too late. What do we have on Reddit?
All right. Typeset says, "What do you think the unluckies are up to now?" I think they went feral.
Yeah, they're just being animals.
Jeez.
For people who skipped the piece together segment, shame.
Well, Sanji broke their necks, didn't he?
No, they lived because they were in the
It's One Piece.
Miss Golden Week cover story because they because Hina like interrogated them and they spilled the beans on everyone in Baroque Works.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Snitches, yeah.
So obviously they have stitches.
One of those forgotten cover stories that sets up Impel Down is Miss Golden Week's.
Yeah,
cover story.
that is a super forgotten one. In that I forgot about it.
It features makeupless, no makeup, no filters, Bon Clay.
Oh yeah. No makeup, no filters. I'm looking at Doors right now because I'm sure that's in here.
I thought you were just looking at doors, like you were shopping for doors.
I am an adult, and that is something I would do.
That sounds like right. Like,
it's boring, and yeah, it's boring. What's next, Stephen?
All right, DDD Freed says, "Hey OP, copy pastas. The Straw Hats are dropped into New York City for the day. How does each member spend their time?" They add, "I figure Nami cleans up on Wall Street. Sanji gets into a pizza war with some Brooklynites, and Luffy climbs the Empire State Building."
A la King Kong.
Sanji fights a Times Square Elmo for getting fresh with a lady.
Oh my god.
Nami would go shopping. I don't know if she would not.
On Madison Avenue though, like
her going to
stocks.
Her going to Wall Street dressed like that, she'd get nothing but like douchebags hitting on her. Like,
yeah, but
she can handle them.
And she'd steal from all of those douchebags.
I think that's that was.
I think that's exactly what she'd do. She'd hang out on Wall Street and just, take them up for all they're worth there. I think Luffy. So Juliet was at who we post a lot of her art and stuff on Twitter. Was at Katz's I saw, which I miss dearly. I haven't been there in a while, and I think Luffy would definitely do some sort of like meat food crawl. Or just eat a bunch of meat.
But definitely him on top of the Empire State Building, like I could see him doing that.
100%, yeah. Like not even as like a thing, it's just to see everything. Because that's how he would arrive in New York City. It would be like like at the beginning of Zoe. Or
like any. I for some reason I thought of like Annie's Lobby, or just him climbing up that flagpole, or like even like in Logtown.
Yeah, he does that in all the places he's at. He has to get to the highest point so he could see it. And you know what? The Empire State Building, not at all the highest point. So you'd probably go up either the World Trade Center or that really ugly building that 432 Park. Oh, God.
That freaking rectangle.
So, true story. It is literal, and you could look this up. It is true. 432 Park, which is the largest residential building, I think, as I'm speaking in the Western Hemisphere, is modeled after a trash can. Yep.
Because that's what you'll be eating out of if you put all your money into living there.
It's I believe a condominium there is around $100 million. So, that makes sense. What's the next question, Stephen?
Well, I was going to say Chopper would go to Times Square as a tourist, and then he would end up getting given lots of money.
Yeah,
by
because
the tourists
everyone would think he was a mascot for something.
Yep.
I like that. That's a good one.
Zoro would end up like in Staten Island.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, how did you even get there?
Or no, he's like at the farthest end of Long Island.
Yeah, he's not even in New York City. Or he's in Coney Island for some reason.
And Brooke gets his subway busking license.
Busking.
Mr. Fiendish says, we know Big Mom's justification for her cruise organization having all races because of Mother Carmel and making people giants so they would all be equal. But what do you think the reason Kaido wants to have an all-animal crew? Is this something you think will be revealed in his flashback?
I think he just likes animals.
He's like, it's just like an aesthetic I got going here. I kind of want to keep it up.
He's a furry, yeah. I was trying to think of how else to get to that point.
Sam is cut into the chase here.
Yeah.
He's going to be very sad that the minks are on the other side.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He might actually be mad about that. Like,
that's why he's depressed.
Yeah. Well, that's why he attacked Zoe. He was pissed about it.
Yeah. An awful man.
Yeah. Lord Nemo 593 says, last time we saw Lola, she was in Water 7. Let me ask you this. What is Water 7 famous for making? That's right, ships. And which member of the worst generation is currently sailing on a cupcake that is heavily in need of a new ship? That's right, Bedge. I think that by the end of this cover story, we'll see the Fire Tank Pirates get a new ship from Water 7 while meeting up with Lola.
I thought Water 7 was known for water.
Oh.
Yeah, water meat.
Yeah, water meat.
Candy,
Actually, no,
water,
that's
orphans.
a great idea, actually.
I
No,
actually
it is a
do like
great
that,
idea.
but that just means like,
Yes,
wow,
across
Lola
the
never
pond.
left that bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
She-
you know,
she's
she was
hanging out there.
waiting. She was waiting for Bluno from the bar.
No. She got married to Zombi. She found the one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she's got a whole island of men to hit on now.
That's the best. That's the best. That's a ship. Oh wow! Okay. So not famous for ships, but famous for ships. I get it.
What if she did marry? What if she did marry Zombi and then she's like, sorry, I'm not in the Charlotte family anymore. I'm in the Frankie family now.
Oh, now this has to happen. The thing is, Capone had like one of, and still does, I guess. It's even though it's no longer with us, had one of my favorite ships. So
Yeah,
sad that we do have to leave that. But yeah, I'm sure he'll get something cool at some point. It is funny that a bunch of gangsters are on a giant cupcake ship.
yeah, that's pretty good.
There is something really great.
Would you prefer
about
a big cannoli?
that. Yes.
All
The
right,
big cannoli. That would be the name of the ship.
Freaking Captain Cannoli over
write
here.
it down.
Yeah, the big cannoli. Okay,
All
go
right.
ahead.
Never says, if you could watch a filler arc written by a team of Simpsons writers, who would you like to have on it?
Oh, jeez.
Wait,
Is
the
it writers
Simpsons
or the
writers?
Yeah, I was going to say the problem is that if this was a One Piece filler arc, in order to do the filler experience justice, it would have to be someone from the last 10 years of writing The Simpsons when it sucks.
I don't know.
Yeah,
John
I don't know.
Schwartzwelder.
I don't know the writers well enough.
Yeah, I mean, I love almost anything that John Schwartzwelder does, and I think he'd write Luffy exceptionally well. Or you know what? To be fair, if anyone could write a Capone cover story or side story or spin-off, Schwartzwelder would do a very good job. He's very
I don't know
good
about
with
that.
He's good with gangsters and like 1920s ridiculousness, like
Right, but if
St.
Schwartzwelder
Patrick's
wrote
Day.
it, I mean, like all the women would just have no lines.
That's true too. Yes, I forgot he has that tendency.
Yeah.
Who else is there that would like? Now I'm having issues even like remembering on the spot all of the different writers and what they would write. It's a very very specific question. Steve,
Yeah,
do you
very
have
specific
anyone?
question.
Yeah.
It's hard for me. I can't. I'm bad at this.
Like I'm trying to think. The whole thing about The Simpsons too is that they write, kind of groupthink kind of writing. It's around
think
a
tank.
table. Yeah, and so even when someone's name is on an episode, except for Schwartzwelder, I think he's the exception. Usually it's a group of people.
No, that's because he didn't go to the room anymore after they banned
right. Yeah,
smoking.
he just would take it home. Yeah,
And then they banned smoking in his diner, and he took the booth home and put it in his house.
Right. He's cranky. And I'm sure he's listening to this podcast. What's the next question, Steve?
It's too bad this is it's not really John Schwartzwelder.
Man Cow Bear says, would you guys ever consider doing a filler arc ranking? I think isn't that a running joke?
The filler
I'd
up
have to watch
segment?
the filler again, and I don't want to do that.
I mean,
Zach-
Steve,
Zach
weren't
making-
we doing that?
You got to get me drunk, I guess.
Is there
I don't-
anyone
Zach-
out there willing to get Steve drunk?
It's like, hey, let's do this thing. Cool. Zach's like, I'm going to announce it. Whoa. And
We haven't gotten there on the Patreon anyway.
To be fair,
Yeah.
you announced our interview with J. Michael Tatum that I haven't even asked him about.
Oh,
yet.
no. I suggested, like, that means we got to do this. And then you're like, oh, so we're doing this. And I'm like, Zach, we gotta, and we're and it's like, and we are two very different things.
I'm learning so much today. What's next?
All right. Tongari Dan. Okay, we did kind of talk about Tama's powers and Zoan's. So last question on Reddit is from John Gargia, who says, I love the new Yakuza bosses. Which one is your favorite design? I like Cho's butterfly hair. Yeah, we didn't really like talk about the the pros and cons of each of
let's see.
the designs.
Who's my favorite design?
I do like her.
I like a split hat.
Yeah, that's mine.
I think that
That's
it's
my
very
pick.
different looking. Yeah, he looks like a scarecrow from the Batman the Animated
From
Series.
Batman?
A little.
Yeah. I don't like Omasa, the guy who looks like a giant melting cat. He just looks creepy.
Looks like Doraemon.
Yeah, and-
it's weird. I don't
And
get it.
Snake Eyes is almost like generic, kind of ridiculous Oda design. You
Yeah,
know, he
Gourd
looks like a
shaped
lot
head.
of. He looks a lot like I can't even remember his name, even though he's in this chapter. Babanuki.
Oh,
I
yeah, a
think he
little
looks
bit.
like
Similar
Oh my-
kind of, except the head, his beard is on his head instead of his beard.
oh.
Sam. Yeah,
I'm
what were we
sorry.
gonna say?
I'm
having an
blanking.
epiphany.
I'm blanking on a character's name, and it's like a really. What's the
Shootin'
treasure
Maru.
box guy? No, the treasure box guy.
Oh,
with the
Gaimon?
afro. Gaimon. There we go. He's got like a Gaimon face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
a little
Gaimon
bit.
were a badass Yakuza boss, which he is. Yeah, Ed, who's your favorite of these four?
Pass.
Steve?
It refuses to.
I like the
Yeah,
one with the head that the head is shaped like a gourd.
What was it? It was a Rocho, right?
Ocha.
Yeah, Tape.
Ocha.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the lady whose name is the Gourd, but
Oh. The Snake Eyes is the one who actually has a head shaped like one.
yeah.
But I was saying, like, it's a good week for butterfly women in Shonen Jump. If anyone was watching Demon Slayer anime this week,
Mm.
Oh, that's what you were referring to in the
Yeah.
manga. I had no idea.
the Demon Slayer anime is very good. People should watch.
Yeah,
it.
I heard good things. I just haven't not had a chance yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but the man at the Costco said it was good. So
Yes. So that's it for Reddit.
Yes.
So Steve got out of that question, but it is time to
Peace the tweet. Yeah.
what do we have on Twitter, Ed?
Zach, what are you talking about? I answered the question like twice.
First
I
one comes from
refuse to
Usopp the
believe
Great.
that.
Usopp the Great, who asks, rewatching Punk Hazard, when Smiley transformed, did an apple turn into a devil fruit, or was that a smile fruit? No, like the Smiley, that was an
No, I
actual
think it
fruit.
was no, but I think that was a smile fruit because I think weren't the rings like the smile rings are different than the devil fruit ones.
Like they were circles, right?
Yeah, they're circles, and so I think it was a smile fruit. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I don't have it in front of me right now, but
What was the question?
if the Smileys, to be fair, his name is Smiley, Ed.
I thought when Smiley died, when like the creature died, like there was an actual devil fruit left, not a
Did
smile.
this guy put a chapter in so I could?
No.
I mean I would look it up. Okay, I'll try and find it. What is that? That's like in the 60s.
Caesar. Yeah.
Smiley is like a big blob of gel that ate the like axolotl fruit.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which was most certainly a smile fruit.
Right.
No, I think it's just a regular devil fruit.
Okay, I'm gonna look at because the smile fruits have just the circles versus the devil devil fruits.
No. When Smiley died, that was a actual devil fruit when Smiley's fruit regenerated.
And I was like
I think
explaining how devil fruits return to the world.
Right. It's not a smile fruit. That's an actual fruit. It's the
because
Sala fruit axolotl model.
yes, yeah, because when Smiley's introduced, if it says like it mentions a devil fruit at the bottom, then yeah, it's a devil fruit.
Devil fruit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just want to look
yeah.
up that scene specifically, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah,
But we all remember that sad moment when Caesar lost to Smiley. Dead.
Leave the memories alone. Dark King Zoro, our very own Brian Newton, asks, since the anime weirdly gave King white wings, Hitetsu is related to King. Calling.
He told me this
Oh,
on Friday.
didn't
It's
they
like on
fix
Friday.
that?
Person.
They did. They fixed it. It's black
Did
wings
they?
now in the anime. Yeah.
Right.
Boom, roasted.
Yeah, but he could be like wearing latex over his wings, you know.
By the way, you guys.
Hockey wings.
By the way,
Hockey
chapter
wings, yeah.
676 is the chapter, and it is a real devil fruit. It's the regular concentric circles. So that's all I was saying, because I for some reason remembered it being the sad ones, but I incorrectly remembered it. So it's a regular old devil fruit. Go ahead. Yeah.
Last one comes from not so much a piece to tweet this week. The last one comes from QuipQuest, who says, looking back, that scene where the sumo champion was asking Okiku to be his bride and turned him down has a radically different context now.
Yeah, I like it.
They're very accepting. You know.
Well, I mean, he thought that she was a woman.
Maybe
or
he
like
didn't
biologically. Yeah. Maybe he didn't. But I also don't think he noticed because no one else had.
There's a lot of things he doesn't notice.
We'll have to wait for Urashima to make his triumphant return to the story.
I hope.
Or close
don't.
all those loose ends.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Jean Ongo to come back.
Be waiting a while. So that's gonna
I'm
do it.
still waiting for Gim to come back.
Okay, that's gonna do it for Piece Together. We're gonna be waiting for a long time to finish this episode out.
Enru's going to come back in November when we interview him.
This has been episode 583 for August 18th, 2019. Thank you all for coming on the show. Thank you, Ed, for taking things over last week with Greg and Maddie and Steven and all of you guys helping out to make a really cool episode for the break, where if you guys have not listened, they go through Stampede and they also go through magazine number 6. Number 7 did just come out though, and it's all about Stampede. Yeah. I haven't ordered it yet. Is it good? How's it looking?
I don't read Japanese.
What?
I have not flipped through it yet either.
You could listen to extra episodes, which it's been really hectic on my real life end here, so I have not put up the crewing around, but I'm going to do that this week. So exclusive podcasts, extended episodes, episode images that were not used from good friend Steve here, and a lot more. That's all on patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Please subscribe and help support us, make us bigger and better, and do that if you have not. Caleb had to take off, but please follow him if you do not already on Twitter, and that is CD Cubed. CUBED is his Twitter handle. And please check out My Hero Academia, Dr. Stone, Dragon Ball Super, World Trigger, and Hell's Paradise, which he has worked on. Steven, where could people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Translatosaurus. And as we have mentioned before, you can read my work on One Piece and Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru, on Viz's Shonen Jump and on Manga Plus every week.
Sam, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw. They can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece and Black Clover. And they can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps.
Steve, where can people find you?
Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr. Steve Yurko is the username. I guess, I don't know what I'm producing content-wise lately, but it seems to be every now and then I produce a One Piece tweet that kind of blows up, and that was the Shanks one recently, because more and more people are getting into One Piece now and talking about it on Twitter, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, listen to me on other podcasts, of course. Listen to me on The Deep End. Listen to me on Toon Suite. And I might as well plug a show. I was a board artist on Harmon Quest Season 3, and that's dropping now weekly on Verve. So I think a lot of people out there probably have Verve. because it's in relation to Crunchyroll. So check out season 3 of Harmon Quest.
Nice.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I love that show too. So that's really cool. I didn't know it started coming out. So thank you for telling me.
Mhm.
And Ed, where could the good people out there contact us?
You're Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. One Piece. I'm also at Weeb Trailers. Check out those old trailers there. Podcast is at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. OnePiecePodcast is our Skype name. Please support us, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Subscribe on SoundCloud. Subscribe on Spotify. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
And that phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Time.
With your questions, comments, theories, or all about Capone Beige's General Hospital and what that would entail. Thank you guys for coming on the show. One Piece is awesome. Please follow us and support us. It's been really cool just seeing the One Piece community. I feel like it's been like lit on fire lately. I don't know what it is. Before we go though, gotta do a little bit of trivia because we got to. I think we should do something a little bit different. We've been doing the Vivre cards a lot lately. So I'm gonna revert back to another type of game we played. I'm going to have each of you pick a number from 1 to 952. And I will ask you a question about the chapter that corresponds with. As you know, the more recent a chapter you pick, the harder the question will be. But at the same time, if it's an old chapter, you might not know what the hell's happening. So we're going to go Ed, Steven, Steve, Sam, first person to 3 wins. It's the same kind of rules we did for the Vivre card. Everyone else will get a chance to steal. In that order, if you do not get it correctly. I'm coming up with the question, obviously, on the spot, so please be patient with me. So we're going to go in that order. Ed, why don't you take us away? Pick a number.
Okay. 728.
728. So let's see what this is all about. Okay. Oh, God. Sorry, it's the material in this.
Okay.
Okay. There are 3 characters that make an amazing fault face in this chapter, who are reacting to Leo and the Tontadas and a lie that had been told. Can you name these 3 characters? These 3 Straw Hat characters.
Okay. I will go with Robin, Zoro, and Usopp.
No.
No.
Steven.
Let's see. And 3 characters about Leo.
Leo and the Operation SOP, that whole thing. And realizing,
Robin, Usopp, and Frankie?
Yep, that is correct. Yes. Good job, Steven. Steven, pick a number.
All right. Chapter 51.
Was not expecting that. All right, give me a second here. Just to get there. Okay. Because I could do the Control F function, but when it's 2 digits, it's... Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, God.
Okay, it's going to be slightly harder then. Give me a second, because I got to find...
It's like, hey, wait a second.
You tricked me. Okay, so let's find something that's not obvious here.
On page 33. How many panels does this have?
There wouldn't be a page 33.
Well, in the book.
Ooh. Oh, when was this repeated? Oh, this would be really good. All right. What is the saying Mihawk uses to describe Zoro's place in the world? And I believe it is repeated later on in the story.
Oh, you mean the little frog from a well that
Yeah,
is
can you-
ignorant of the sea?
Kind of.
I don't know how the old Viz translation of it goes.
Okay. I'll
Can
take
you
it.
repeat verbatim what the other translator
No, I'll
put?
take it. I'll take it. It's you're a little frog croaking in your puddle. Time you learned how big the world is. But Stephen, I'll give it to you. That was
Yeah, I think
very cheap.
later it was. I think in Fishman Island, especially,
That's
it
what
was
it was.
like it was a well. I think.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
the one
that's what
Stephen
the saying-
translated. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the actual saying that comes from. So
Okay. That works then. And actually that makes more sense than the croaking in your puddle. The croaking at the bottom of a well makes more sense there. Steve, pick a number.
Shit.
By the way, Stephen is 1 away from winning. Everyone else is
Alright.
0. Which makes sense.
Chapter 100.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Chapter 100. Okay. There are two. I just want to make sure I go through this whole. Okay, there are 2 vehicles of note, besides the Going Merry in this chapter. Either name the vehicles or name the characters driving the vehicles, and it's important because both of these vehicles are powered in some way by the characters' devil fruits.
Okay. I don't know the name of it, but Smoker has a big stupid motorcycle tricycle.
I don't know if he has a name for it either. That's why I was.
I know what it's called.
And then the other one is Chop Chop Buggy or Chop Chop
Chop
Car.
Yep. I'll take it. Good job, Steve. Good job. What's the name of it, Steven? Do you know?
The Billower bike.
Oh, that's a good name.
Pow, pow, pow wheels.
No points there, but good job, Sam. Steven, whatever your name is. Sam. I know everyone's
All right,
name.
I've pulled up a random
Shoots
number
in Mario.
generator. 1
really?
through 952.
1 through 952, yeah.
888.
No way. That's the random number it came up with?
that part was a joke.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's funny. Oh, okay. This is hard for Sam. This is not the question of. I have a bonus question for Sam specifically after this, which he is not going to get. Sorry, this is gonna take a while. Someone transforms in this chapter. What is the alternate name for the transformation?
You just mean like Moon Lion?
Yeah, that's it. That was really okay. So the other question I had: how many spokes are in the wheel that Carrot takes?
I feel like 8 is a good bet.
Damn you, Sam. I'm giving you 1 point though. Because that was just like I was just gonna be an asshole and ask that. Okay. Ed, the score, by the way, after round 1, Stephen 2, Steve 1, Sam 1, Ed. Your turn. You guys are way too good at this game, by the way.
41.
Scroll all the way back. 41. Let's see what we got. Okay. Chapter 41. Sorry, the first panel is really funny. Okay. What do I ask in this chapter? This is tough. Because it's an old one and I don't want to make it too difficult. This chapter has a scene that is repeated this is repeated over and over. There's something that is flashed back to in this chapter over and over, and that is a certain member joining the crew. Now, what exactly does Zoro say to this member when he is arguing about whether?
Oh, just get on the boat.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
That was an Ed question right there. My other bonus question for no points. Luffy has a body part of his in the very first panel of this chapter. What body part of his is in his mouth?
What chapter was this again?
41. 41.
41. He has a body part in his mouth.
Yeah, that's the very first panel of this chapter is an
As well
entire
as his
body
head?
part of his. It's his entire fist.
Oh wow.
It's a very funny looking panel. I don't know why. Steven, pick a number.
All right. Let's see, random number 576.
576. Okay. Let's see what we could do here. Here we go. I could make this hard. Okay. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members of a certain pirate crew, a certain super evil pirate crew, that are introduced here. Name the 5 members.
Certain super evil.
Super
Pirate crew.
bad. Let's say they're dark.
Bad.
Very dark.
Bad. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to recall. I'm gonna guess.
Even though one of them had actually been previously introduced, but the other 4 had not.
So are we? Oh God. We talking about? Jesus Burgess, one of them?
No.
No.
Not one of the ones introduced.
Right.
One is reintroduced, but for the first time as a member of this.
Okay, all right. So let me see. Shiryu, Katarina Devon. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna remember all the other ones. No, I can't. They're escaping me.
Oh wow, Steve.
Okay,
Name
so
the
it's Katarina
5.
Devon, Shiryu.
Those are the 2 that Steven said.
Yeah. So Vasco Shot, San Juan Wolf, and Pizarro.
Yep. Good job, Steve.
Pizarro, I love
Pizarro. I love you, Pizarro.
All right. The score is Ed has 1. Both Steves have 2, and Sam has 1. So Steve, you could win the game with this one.
Crap! Should I pick something I'm familiar with, or just do this random number generator thing? Huh.
Yeah.
Crap. Hold on, Sam, generate me a number.
All
I
right.
don't think he actually had that in front of him.
I do. Right. I was gonna
Oh,
do
you
it
do?
for real next.
Oh.
185.
So you're doing that?
Yeah,
Steve?
sure.
185.
Sure.
All right, here we go. Opening the chapter. The chapter title is "Oh, Is That So?" And I'm sure that gives you no hints.
Is that so?
Is that too easy? No, I'm gonna ask that. There is a certain let's call it a weapon that is introduced in this chapter, which Chopper, of course, is amazed by for several reasons. What is the name, as far as the Viz translation is concerned, anyway, of this weapon?
Chapter 185.
185. Oh, is that so? That doesn't help you at all. No. I don't even know what that's referring to. I mean, it might help you.
Interesting. Okay.
A certain quote-unquote weapon.
That Chopper is enamored by, like he's like, ooh, wow.
Zach, stop giving hints because I already know what it is.
Okay.
That
Is
was
it
my last
Usopp? Come on. Usopp's 5-ton hammer?
Yep. It's called the Usopp Pound.
Oh.
But yes, I will take 5-ton hammer, which I think
I probably
is
would have
better.
answered like lasso or something.
So Steve's our winner this week.
Yeah.
Behind, right there.
Screw
Very
you,
good
Vipper
job.
cards.
Yeah, no, I like this one. This is always a fun one. Yeah, so we'll be back next week. Oh, by the way, we have a lot of really cool guests coming on over the next few weeks. Let me see. I have the whole list here. Next week, Ein is coming for the first time on the show.
Ooh,
10 years later here. And then we have Abby Denton on September 1st. We have the entire My Hero Academia podcast coming on the 8th. We have Jeff Ruberg on the 15th. Some guy named Greg on the 22nd. And God's Will is coming back on the show on the 29th of September. So look forward to all that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, that bars any, Oda somehow taking a break or Shonen Jump taking a break. So that might move the schedule around. And by
We'll have a volume of the magazine to talk about.
Yeah. We have a lot to talk about. I also have interviews with the voice actors for Sabo and Ace, the Japanese ones, to play on the podcast pretty soon. So we have that to do. Anyway, until next week, everyone, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you then, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.